At least 99% of things in life are out of your control. It's unpredictable, there's not much you can do about it. So it's important that you know how to let go of control, expectations, and worries. In other words, you need to learn how to surrender. You need to learn the art of surrendering. And that's exactly what this video is about. I'm going to teach you all about the art of surrendering. The only thing we can really control is ourselves, and even then we don't have full control of ourselves. Whatever life throws at you, you have to be able to maneuver around it and still get to where you want to get to. You can't exactly always plan everything because life is unpredictable. It's this human ego that makes us feel like we can control anything as long as we can set our mind to, but really there is will, and then there is the flow of life. There is life. There's so many things that we cannot control. It's out of our hand. You can plan that you're going to go to this school, but then you cannot plan the entire experience. You cannot plan who's going to be there, what kind of teachers you're going to have, what kind of friends you're going to have, what kind of annoying people you're going to have to deal with. That is completely out of your control. And all of those factors, all of those people are going to shape your experience. In other words, shape your life. But that was not in your control. You cannot do anything about it. They are just there, and you're going to have to learn to maneuver around it. And yeah, and that's that. But imagine a life where you could actually plan everything and you can predict everything. It would be so boring. Like, it would literally be so boring if you knew exactly how your day was gonna look like, or your entire life. You knew exactly what was gonna happen at what age. It would be so boring. What makes life so fun is that it's unpredictable. It's full of surprises and it's full of ups and downs. That makes life worth living. It makes you alive. If everything was just safe and planned and predictable, like, you would be living, but like you would literally just be like playing a role. You wouldn't really be living, you know? So I think you have to just like really learn to love the unpredictable. You have to learn to love the unexpected, and you have to kind of let go of the expectation that my life is going to be like this, or like my day is going to look exactly like this. Have the plan, okay? Have the plan, otherwise you're just like floating around everywhere, and that's not good. But you want to be able to flow around and maneuver around whatever obstacles or whatever unpredictable stuff is in front of you. You know, you can't say, oh, I want it to go from A to B, and then even though there is like a hole in the road, you just keep going because you're like, oh, this is what I had planned, so I'm gonna stick to my plan and keep going, and then you go down the hole when you know there is a hole. So you have to learn to be flexible and then go around stuff to get to wherever you want to get to. And sometimes you realize in that detour, in you going around the hole, there is a whole new experience just there. You took a different road, you took a different route that you never would have, and you ended up seeing beautiful things. And sometimes it's maybe not so beautiful things, but that's the lesson, and you learn new things. Either way, you had more exciting or just a different experience than you would have if you were to just go from A to B and just follow your plan, and it just happened with you know, no surprises. It wouldn't be so fun, and you wouldn't have stories to tell. The main reason why people are like such control freak, and I know this because I used to be a massive control freak, okay? Like, let's not even go there. But the reason why we try to control so much is because subconsciously we have a fear that it's not going to go our way. That's why we try to hold on to it so tight and try to control every little factor that would affect the result. But deep down, there's some fear. That's why. So sometimes you need to take a step back and be very do some inner work and kind of find out, what fear do I have? Why do I not trust that this will go exactly how I had planned? Because if you really fully trusted yourself, if you trusted the universe, you wouldn't be trying to manage everything, micromanage everything, and trying to control everything, because you know it would just happen, right? The main thing you can do is do the inner work to actually figure out what those fears are. Once you know what they are, then you can start tackling it. Where does this come from? How can I manage this? The only way you are going to overcome your fear is by facing it. Don't run away. It's only going to make it seem a lot worse than what it actually is. Like the further you go, it's like the fear is going to look bigger. Somehow it just does, okay? So it's like you just have to face it. You have to conquer your fear, you know? Once you face it, even though you're scared at that time, you survived it. You know what it was like, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I was feeling a bit scared at that time, but I survived. I lived. I'm still here. And guess what? The next time, if you have to face the same thing, even if you're scared, you know what you're expecting, right? You know what you're getting yourself into, and you can do it because you're like, I did it once, I can do it again and again and again. So face your fear. Stop running away from it. You just have to push yourself sometimes, and you're like, just do it. Just literally just do it. The more you try to think about it, the more you try to plan things, what you're gonna expect and blah blah blah, it's like the fear is just multiplying because you're just sitting there worrying about it. So sometimes just jump. You die, just jump, do it. Honestly, well, not literally die, but you know what I mean, like just do it. And that's the thing, it's like life, you have to die internally and you have to come back alive. And like, it's life is so beautiful. Like, stop letting fear hold you guys back down. You have to enjoy the ups and down of life. It's just part of life. Just surrender to the flow of life. Flow is like this, you know, it's just not gonna go like a straight line. You're not just always gonna be high. It's, you have to go, you have to enjoy the up and the down, the whole motion, the whole range. Let life show you what life is. Let life unfold for you. Just all you have to do is live, breathe. That's all you have to do. Breathe. Breathe through it and live your life. Exercising your faith is so important. You need to have complete faith in yourself and in universe. Because when you trust that the universe knows exactly what she's doing for me, she knows what's best for me, and I am guided by the universe, then you will not worry about little things. You will not be anxious about little things because you know universe is on your side. You trust universe, and you just know that things are happening the way it should happen. And sometimes you just don't see the bigger picture. You need to have that faith that it's all working out for me. It's going in my favor. You just don't see it yet. My biggest mantra is faith over fear. Anytime I catch myself overthinking, anytime I'm scared or start feeling anxious about little things, faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear. That's what I tell myself repeatedly, and it's made me so much brave, so much more confident, because anytime I have doubts, I'm like, okay, but things have worked out for me in the past and I didn't know that it was working on my favor then, but it really was. Everything happens for a reason, and I have really been guided by the universe. So I just need to have faith in the universe. That's what I keep telling myself. And I really want you to think all those times when you thought you were not gonna make it, but then you did. So you really have to have faith in the universe, have faith in yourself as well. It's so important that you trust yourself, because if you don't trust yourself, honey, you're gonna live the rest of your life being anxious and having very low self-esteem. You could be amazing, but if you don't trust yourself, you're never gonna get to your full potential. You're gonna live your entire life doubting yourself, self-sabotaging yourself, and expecting other people to validate you, to make you feel good about yourself, when really it should come from within, and you should just be trusting in yourself. Right, so trust yourself and trust in the universe. And also, the whole time you're being worried about all this stuff, right? You have an exam tomorrow, and either you can worry about it or you can do something about it, because worrying is costing you energy. But the same energy, you can use that to manifest the reality you want. So rather than worrying about, oh, this question, that question, think about what can you do about it? What can you do about it? You can study. Get to work then. Study, do your best, and stop worrying. Because all we can really do is do our best. That's all we can do. There's so many other factors in life that is just not in our control. If there is someone like smarter than me in that exam hall, what can I do about that? Nothing. All I can do is do my best, and I'll sleep well knowing I tried my best, because that's all we can do in life. Be very, very careful about worrying and having fears and doubts and all of this stuff, because either we realize it or not, either we are consciously doing it or not, we are manifesting everything. Every single thought it's not going to waste. It's going to help you manifest things. So it's either going to be manifesting something that you have desired or something that you don't want. But if you focus so much on what could go wrong and the problems, that's what's going to grow. So you need to stop. You need to stop, because you're literally making things worse for yourself. One, because in that moment, in that reality, you are stressing yourself, and stress is not a good vibration. You want to be calm in life so you can actually think clear. So the whole time you're stressing yourself out, but also all these fears, because you're focusing so much on that, you're giving so much of your energy to that. That's what you're going to manifest, a reality that you don't want, just because you keep thinking about it. So let it go. Let it go. I know it's easier said than done, but the way to really go about it is every single time you catch yourself doing something or thinking something that you're not supposed to, you snap yourself out of it, and then you force yourself to think positive. You're having a negative moment, cool. You couldn't help that, because sometimes it just happens, especially if it's a habit that's been going on for a long time. You can't change overnight. That's cool. But every single time you catch yourself, you force yourself to go the other way. You force yourself to think positive. So instead of worrying about the exam, if you were thinking like, oh my god, but this module, I don't feel so good about it, you clock that you've just been thinking that. All right, I'm gonna force myself to be positive. What do I have that can help me do good in this exam? Okay, so I've been revising. Okay, I've been looking at past papers. Cool. See, now you're feeling more confident, rather than you just start to think, oh, but in this module I didn't get the full grade that I wanted to, and this and that. Like, start thinking of the strength, or so just maneuver it, shift the way you think from negative to positive, always. And that's the way you do it. It's going to be a lot of work at the start, but then the more you do it, it's going to become so natural for you. Like, I used to be my biggest critique, and I used to literally worry so much about myself, and I would have so many thoughts. Okay, but what if, and I'm just digging this like big hole for myself. Now I barely do that, and I feel like most of my thoughts about myself is very, very positive, very, very positive. I do have sometimes like moments of doubt and everything, but I don't stay there for that long. I literally can snap out of anything like in a second. I really can. And I feel like it was not easy. The journey was not easy. It's like really you're kind of battling with yourself, right? You're battling the lower version of yourself. You need to listen to the higher version of yourself that is guiding you, and not let the lower version of yourself win. So it's really like you're battling, I guess people like to say battling your demons, but you have to do it because only you can help yourself. It's not going to come from outside. So yeah, and I think that's another thing. Stop expecting people to change you and expecting people to help you and love you. It has to come from within. You are your savior. You are your creator and your destroyer. So it depends who you listen to, the voices we just talked about, right? The reason why you have difficulties letting go of expectations is because you're so focused on the result, the outcome, and you just want that. But you just have to enjoy the process, like just enjoy the journey, and that way you will actually let loose and let just things happen rather than wanting like a particular outcome, because who knows, throughout the process you get something even better. You never know. You never know. Honestly, in life is so unpredictable. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen in an hour or even like in 5 minutes. Like, I don't know. This freaking light could fall. Like, I'm not saying that it will, but like it could. Do I know? Would I know? I wouldn't know, would I? Okay, let's talk about how to not expect anything from people. First thing we need to understand is that people don't owe you anything. No one owes you anything. So there goes you managing your expectation. People don't owe you anything. If you get something from people, things, time, company, be grateful. Be grateful, appreciate that, but don't ever feel like people owe you things and you have the right. You don't have right over anyone. You don't have right over your parents. You don't have right over your kids. You only have right over yourself. That's it. You don't have right over anyone. You definitely don't have right over your partner. Like, we all are very like attached to people, and we forget that they are their own person and you are your own person. Just because you're in some sort of relationship, friendship, or like a romantic relationship, or like a family, just because you have a relationship, you are not one. You don't have any right over them. You don't have any control over them. A lot of people don't realize that. So yeah, they don't owe you anything, and you don't owe people anything either. So the next time you're disappointed in someone because you feel like they're not doing much for you or something like that, remember that they don't owe you anything. I think if you're in a relationship and stuff, people are thinking like, what the hell, if they're my partner, they should be able to do this for me and this for me. Like, really, that's an agreement you guys made between yourself. Like, all partners make an agreement within themselves, but like at the end of the day, they are their own person and you are your own person. You chose to have that partnership, great, but let's like, before that partnership, they were just a stranger to you, and they didn't have to get in a partnership with you, and you didn't have to get in a partnership with like each other. So it's really like you guys decided to make something work, and obviously you guys can have like, I guess, certain expectation when it comes to that, because those are your rules. But really, if you look at it without the labels and stuff, you are really two different people living your life. And if tomorrow they decide they don't want to be in the relationship for whatever reason, doesn't matter how much you love them, they have the right to move on. And you have the right to move on from things, or you have the right to not do certain things just because you are in love with someone. Because that's the thing, I feel like, oh, if you love me or if you care about me, you have to do this for me and do this for me. Really, you don't. What if I like love someone, but I'm just like, I just don't want to do certain things that they want to do, and if I don't want to do that, does that mean I don't love them? We have to stop taking things so personal. It's like a lot of the times it's really not about us. Like, so imagine like someone is rude to us, either that's your colleague or just a stranger. You'll start questioning, why though? Why were they like that with me? I was so nice to them, I didn't deserve this, blah blah blah. But it had nothing to do with you. A lot of the time it doesn't. Maybe they were just having a bad day, or like they're just going through something, or maybe they're just a dickhead and that's just how they are. But it had nothing to do with you, so stop taking things personally. People just sometimes do whatever they want to do, and there's nothing you can do about it, So you gotta like just stop expecting too much from people, because they are unpredictable just like life, and tomorrow they can change their mind and do anything. So always have that in the back of your head, like not in a way like where I don't trust people, but really like live your life, be in the moment, like live for the day. And if tomorrow something happens, be okay with that. Say, at least I had a good experience. They're not with me today, but yesterday I had a good time with them, and that's that. You go about living your life, they go about living their life. It's that simple. Going back to living in the moment, that is the key. That is the key to life. And it sounds so simple, and really it took me a long time to really practice that, and I'm still learning. I often find myself worrying about the past or the future, and I know I'm not the only one. But anyway, I feel like I'm definitely living in the moment a lot more than before, so I'm very happy about that. And it's really the key, because what happened in the past, I cannot change that. You do have to process it, but process that and then move on. At the end of the day, you have to move on. If you stay with it for just long enough where you can process it, that's you being in touch with your emotions. But then if you just stay there and let that consume you, that's emotional baggage, and you don't want that. You don't want to be carrying all that heavy stuff with you, because honey, you've got a beautiful life that you have to live. There's always gonna be a tomorrow, but until you're dead. But that's exactly why you should be grateful that you're alive and celebrate your life. Doesn't matter what the situations are, you are alive. Be grateful, be happy, live life. And the same thing with the future. We have no idea what tomorrow is gonna look like, and we worry so much about tomorrow. My thing is, once you get to tomorrow, that's today, and we still worry about the tomorrow. So it's like tomorrow never comes. Yeah, it's so true. Tomorrow never comes, and we are always worried about tomorrow. We are always living in the tomorrow, but it's never gonna be here. Live here in the moment. You are where your feet is. I don't know where I read that. I don't know, I can't remember where I read that, but like if you Google it, you probably know. Like I didn't come up with it. That's something I always try to remember. Like I could be here in this room, but mentally I am 10 years ago, or 10 years in the future, or I'm in a different place with different people, but like I'm here, and I just have to like drag myself to get back to reality, get back to the present moment. And I'm like, you are where your feet is. Look at your feet. I look at my feet. I feel my feet. I'm like, this is where I am. I feel my body. I feel like myself physically, because sometimes I feel like I'm here, my body's here. Mentally, I am... I don't want to know. I just be like going places. Yeah, and it's not really good. Sometimes it's like, it's nice imagining things is good, you know. Imagination is key, but you gotta live in the moment as well. And yeah, it's a process. Time to end the video. I definitely had a good time filming this, and I hope you guys had a good time watching this, and I hope you learned something new. Obviously, if you want to see more of me outside YouTube, then follow me on TikTok and Instagram, which is all Quelling. So maybe I'll see some of you guys there. Bye.